Welcome to Big Idea, Hardly, where you can learn something new in just a few minutes. Today, we listen to Alex Edmans' book, May Contain Lies: How Stories, Statistics, and Studies Exploit Our Biases and What We Can Do About It, in which we probe into how the manipulation of information can lead us to embrace falsehoods and make critical errors in our decisions, both individually and collectively. Alex Edmans is Professor of Finance at London Business School. Don't go away. Hardly, the editor, will be right back with the story. In this book, Alex Edmans explores how the manipulation of stories, statistics, and studies can mislead us into believing falsehoods and making critical errors. The problem isn't just that we're presented with inaccurate information, it's that our biases and the ways in which information is presented often lead us to embrace these inaccuracies without question. Let's delve deeper into this concept, using some detailed examples from the book to illustrate how these manipulations occur and the devastating consequences they can have. One of the most striking stories in this book is about Belle Gibson, an Australian woman who claimed to have cured her terminal cancer through natural remedies. Her story was widely believed, and she became a wellness icon with an app and a cookbook that reached millions. The problem? Belle Gibson never had cancer. She fabricated her illness, yet her story resonated with so many because it confirmed a bias many people have: that natural remedies are superior to conventional medicine. This case shows how powerful a compelling story can be, even when it's built on lies. People trusted Gibson's narrative without verifying the facts, leading some to abandon their medical treatments, which had serious and even fatal consequences for them. The book states, "We accept a claim uncritically if it confirms what we'd like to be true." This example underscores the danger of accepting information that aligns with our desires without critical examination. Another story from the book that exemplifies the manipulation of information involves the downfall of Theranos, a company that claimed to revolutionize blood testing. Elizabeth Holmes, the founder, was celebrated as a visionary and attracted significant investment from high-profile individuals. Yet, the technology Theranos touted didn't work as promised. Investors and the public were swayed by the appeal of the story: Holmes as the next Steve Jobs, transforming healthcare. But the reality was much different. The desire for a breakthrough in medical technology led many to ignore red flags and to invest in a company based on incomplete and misleading information. The narrative was compelling, but it was built on falsehoods, showing how dangerous it can be when we let a good story cloud our judgment. In another instance, the book details how statistics can be manipulated to support almost any argument. The author recalls a hearing in the UK House of Commons, where he was called to testify. A previous witness had cited a study claiming that companies with smaller pay gaps between CEOs and workers perform better. However, when the author checked the study, he found that the final, peer-reviewed version of the study actually concluded the opposite. Companies with larger pay gaps performed better. The earlier version of the study, which supported the opposite claim, was still being used because it fit the narrative that the organization presenting it wanted to promote. This manipulation of data, whether intentional or not, can have significant real-world consequences, as it shapes policies and public opinion based on false premises. The book also illustrates how confirmation bias plays a role in how we interpret information. A gripping story shared is about Bruce Lisker, who was wrongfully convicted of murdering his mother. The detective on the case had a preconceived notion that Lisker was guilty, and he interpreted all the evidence in a way that confirmed this belief. For example, blood found on Lisker's shoes was used as evidence of guilt, despite the possibility that it was there because he had tried to help his mother. It wasn't until years later that it was discovered that the evidence had been misinterpreted, leading to Lisker's eventual exoneration. This case demonstrates how our biases can lead us to see what we want to see, rather than what the evidence actually shows. The book emphasizes, truth is not enough. What matters is how we interpret it. Finally, the book discusses the concept of black and white thinking, where we categorize information in binary terms, often to our detriment. A particularly illustrative story is about the Atkins diet, which became famous for its strict low-carb regimen. People embraced the simplicity of the diet, avoid all carbs, as a straightforward path to weight loss. However, this black and white approach ignored the complexities of nutrition and the importance of balance. While some people did lose weight, the diet also led to negative health consequences for many, as it promoted an unhealthy relationship with food and ignored the benefits of carbohydrates when consumed in moderation. The book points out that such binary thinking can lead us to make poor decisions because we fail to see the nuances in situations. As the editor of Hardly, by learning these lessons, we can become more vigilant in questioning the information we receive and more discerning in our decisions, ensuring that we are guided by truth and critical thinking rather than compelling but misleading narratives. In revisiting our exploration of how the manipulation of information can lead to falsehoods and critical errors, it's crucial to recognize that our biases often blind us to the truth. This book has provided compelling examples of how easily we can be misled by stories, statistics, and studies when they align with what we want to believe. One particularly striking story from the book is about the 2016 Brexit referendum. During the campaign, a widely circulated claim was that the UK sent £350 million a week to the EU, a figure that was prominently displayed on buses and repeated by campaigners. The actual figure was much lower, around £250 million, and even less when considering the amount the EU returned to the UK. However, this misleading statistic was effective because it played into existing biases and fears about the EU, influencing many voters. This case highlights the power of a simple, yet misleading, statistic to sway public opinion and even alter the course of a nation's future. As the editor of Hardly, by understanding these mechanisms of deception, we can arm ourselves against the pitfalls of misinformation. Our future depends on our ability to question the narratives presented to us, seek out the full picture, and resist the allure of simplicity when the truth is often far more complex. This vigilance will enable us to make better decisions, not just for ourselves, but for the societies we live in.